This comment I'm about to show you was a very interesting one. The user makes it known that somewhere, somehow, Xbox's multi-platform move was one out of desperation and necessity, or I guess I'll use their words, necessity, and not some 4D chess move. I submit to you that this person's attempt to downplay Xbox's move to the multi-platform strategy has probably done something to make that move a lot more of a genius level move than they intended to. Let me show you the comment, which I have removed the user's name, and we're going to look at what they wrote here and we're going to assess it. The user writes that Microsoft has definitely been on this path for a while, which would be the path of not having their games stay exclusive. Wow, that conclusion was one that we've always known, that I've been saying for the longest time. They said there is no argument against that. Are you sure? You said their biggest games were going to be multi-platform anyway, with Minecraft and Call of Duty. Now, this is where I already kind of start sensing. My spidey senses are tingling. First of all, Minecraft, after it was acquired, stayed multi-plat, but Xbox still kept its other games as exclusives, even outside of PC. Call of Duty was acquired after Xbox had gone multi-plat. So saying their biggest games were probably the issue makes no sense in the timeline. Is anybody following me? Look at it. Minecraft 2014 or so, 2016, Quantum Break. The first day and date game to PC, then 2023 Call of Duty. So their strategy was always predicated on some things that they wanted to achieve and some tests that they'd already been doing as well, which they never necessarily knew. I don't know if they knew how it would pan out, but they've been doing it. And then they said, so how are you going to seriously ask your other studios to work within the boundaries of the Xbox platform while holding them accountable for P&L? A very interesting question. Number one, Xbox hedged itself while PlayStation put itself in a box. I've made like 60 videos of it. You can go and find out for yourself. I'm not going to go through it again. At some point, you stop teaching the basics and you start dealing with the much more advanced stuff. And those who are probably worried about the basics need to go review themselves. PlayStation and Xbox have basically put their businesses in a very interesting place. While Xbox was taking all the heat for backing its studios up to ensure that P&L does not affect them negatively, they were mocked in the press. Now, I'm going to keep reading, then I'm going to go ahead and expound upon that. You said you can't, especially with also Game Pass eating into the sales of their game starting day one. And then I looked at this and I said to myself, hold on. That's exactly something that a lot of people don't necessarily recognize, is that the biggest criticism that all of you should have given to Xbox, you didn't give it to Xbox. Instead, what you did was you tried to gaslight everybody and lie. You made two contradictory arguments. Argument number one was that Game Pass was not sustainable for the gaming industry. You jumped on that train. And the argument number two was that Game Pass was not growing as expected. So two contradictory arguments that a platform and a subscription service that wasn't growing was somehow going to harm the industry. The argument that you should have been making in criticizing Game Pass was that within the Game Pass ecosystem, games are going to find it hard to fail, thereby possibly affecting the nature of those games in that respect. That's a possibility. Now, I'm not saying it's a certainty because the industry is too saturated. So even within Game Pass, Xbox can only afford to make good games that are wanted by people who play them in order to continue to advance Game Pass. So that's where the pros and the cons have to fight each other and kind of cancel out. Another side, when you say something about having the developers work within the confines or the boundaries of the Xbox platform, Sarah Bond told you all, because y'all were not paying attention when she was in that particular, Xbox thing, she said that the Xbox console is their target. Their hardware allows for them to be able to target a specific points to make their games for. So when an Xbox game is actually getting cooked, they have target hardware. Even though they're going to bring you a PC platform, that PC platform is not going to go beyond the target hardware that they're going to make. They will, however, give you access to other hardware pieces to access their platform, but just as they've given you a TV access, doesn't mean they're going to be there cooking up a game that can run natively on a TV. You can stream it via cloud, but the cloud infrastructure actually runs on Xbox consoles. Hence, their game should be able to run on Xbox console so that a TV or any other device can either access it or at least equate themselves from a device and technical perspective to run those games. You all missed the boat because you said and claimed that Xbox wasn't going to make hardware. That's why you're asking this question, which is an elementary question that should not even be graced with any much more seconds of my time, and you need to go back and do a review. Then you said, this is a strategy of necessity, not some 4D chess move, which, again, because of your incessant need to downplay the Xbox ecosystem and Xbox's moves, you've now basically created for yourself a conundrum, which I'm going to box you in and make sure you can't get out. Let me give you an example. Imagine, say, your phone is about to fall, and somewhere, somehow, you just snap and you move faster than you normally can, and you catch that phone, and you laugh and say, man, I can't believe I did that. Was that out of necessity? Yes. Were you capable of actually ensuring that you caught that phone? Yes. So they're both true. I'll give you another one. You might have seen the videos where they say dad make insane saves when kid is about to actually, face harm. You've seen those videos, right? Where the dad, in some cases, can't really do much, but out of necessity, anticipates the kid going into harm, but makes a smart genius move in a small period of time. For instance, the one that I will give you a picture of, the kid's about to fall, and the dad tosses a small couch pillow, and the kid falls on that couch pillow and is safe from a damaging fall. Was that out of necessity and out of genius, or was it out of both? It was out of both. You've put yourself in a box. Every time you do this, you have to understand that it's coming from a bias, a place of programmed bad faith that everybody has pretty much set you all into. And so now you keep making these elementary arguments that get bodied even by babies falling down. Do you see how this is so weird? So when Phil Spencer decided, we're going to go ahead and find a way to pretty much rewrite Xbox's story, their console sales in 2015 were around 20 million. At the time, PlayStation had almost already sold 60 million consoles. Xbox One to PS4. That's the comparison I'm doing. Not Series X to PS5. Xbox One to PS4. That ratio alone, something had to be done out of necessity and at the same time out of genius. So what did Phil do? Because Peter Moore and the former executives of Xbox and PlayStation had sold their consoles based on console war, Phil Spencer goes to PC. Windows. Windows is already owned by Microsoft. It's a platform that at the same time they can go without dealing as much perception damage to their hardware. They make the move, they make the pivot. A few fanboys on Twitter whine a little bit. But guess what? The Xbox community overall, they accept it with very minimal resistance. In fact, the resistance was much more minimal than the PlayStation fanboys actually seeing their games move to PC. Right? And so Xbox enjoys PC and the sales that they garnered from there for almost a decade, while they're still at least pushing the Xbox One consoles to the end of that generation and the Series consoles to this part of the generation. And at the same time, they're making acquisitions of third-party IP, right? And they're learning. So they acquire Activision Blizzard King, and now they blow the whole thing open. Because Xbox users have already been used to their games being multi-plat. They just probably weren't paying attention, and they also went ahead and justified PC like you PlayStation fanboys justified PC. Do you remember when you said PC doesn't count? Yeah, Xbox gamers, I'm sure they did that too. Genius and necessity. They can be one and the same. They can be separated, but they also can be one and the same and the same as well. Right? So at this point, you've already invested into the Xbox ecosystem via the Xbox One days. You got yourself a Series X, and then PlayStation is like, hey, Xbox is like, hey, we got all these games. We're going to start taking them to other consoles. So what do you say? Some Xbox gamers, they freak out. They go to PlayStation. Now some of them want to come back. PlayStation community is not going to forget, really. I just want you to go sort it out with them. The Xbox community, is not going to, forget easily because you didn't hold down the fort. You did not hold the line. So every one of you that ran away, you're going to be remembered as having been a defector in your little console war. And so here we are, right? Xbox has now pretty much, in a sense, desensitized the market to wanting exclusivity in its own ecosystem But at the same time, they're offering a lot of benefits. So they're not just, they're not just throwing everybody away. They're respecting your library across Xbox. They're giving you all these benefits. You're invested in the ecosystem. You like it. So then you prove to them, those of you who stayed, that we like the Xbox ecosystem because of the Xbox ecosystem. You didn't go buy a PC and then, take a jackhammer and grind your Xbox to a fine dust. So you taught Xbox a lot of things, and so here they are. Now, the second part of this comment is what's very interesting. They said, Xbox and PlayStation have both kind of backed themselves into a corner. Actually, no, it's PlayStation that did that, and I'll show you. Again, now you want to lump Xbox and PlayStation together, but I remember your comments from a few days and a few weeks ago, because I read almost everybody's comments. You would never have said that. You would have probably placed PlayStation in a place of strength, but somehow, you want to now make it seem like they're the same? Not so fast. You said in a perfect world, neither would want to go multi-platform if they had the choice. Okay, they would much rather be Apple with a massive walled garden with billions of users who have to use your store. Now, let me tell you why that is absolutely categorically somewhat false, because you've stated something with certainty, but you never perceive that Microsoft has always been a multi-platform service provider in the software side. Xbox being their baby has been working antithetical to their entire and original aspect in the way they do business. So if anything, if walled gardens was profitable to basically take Xbox to beat every division in Microsoft, sure, they might have left it. But walled gardens are not so profitable. Eventually, there's a huge level of the consumer base that would also want to enjoy the freedom and flexibility that gardens that don't have their walls torn down offer. That's why majority of the world uses other non-Apple devices. So Apple basically carved out a market for itself, but it's not the end-all be-all. And for some strange reason, can't grow as fast as NVIDIA can, because NVIDIA doesn't care who you are. They'll give you what you need for your own, AI usage, right? And Microsoft, being the company that's following them at their heels, doesn't care who you are. They'll give you product for what it is you want to use it for. Xbox, on the other hand, had not been playing that game. And now that they're playing the game, guess who's following? PlayStation. So, the only Apple in the gaming space right now is Nintendo, creating at least a semblance of a walled garden, of which gaming is just so rabid that that garden might eventually get chewed upon and it breaks open and leaks. Sony and Microsoft, according to you, I'm reading your comment, don't have a choice anymore because of their first competition over the years has created a business model that has become unsustainable. Actually, that's not necessarily the case. What's caused the unsustainability are other market forces. It wasn't just them. And that's where, again, I tell y'all, don't do this thing where you want to make it seem like PlayStation was ever better than Xbox. I warned you. I said to you that PlayStation is like any business with cutthroat ideology that wants to come out here and make a buck. But you made it seem, and it may not have been you, but I remember your PlayStation fanboys, many that I blocked, made it seem like PlayStation would never, ever have to go multi-plat when they weren't mailing checks nor were they buying games. You know how gamers talk, right? Oh, we hate microtransactions in games, but then go spend money for microtransactions? Yeah, that's what we found out with PlayStation's so-called fanboys. Our exclusives are amazing, but we don't buy them. And so now exposed, they are. You says you can't lose billions and hardware subsidies and have massive development costs. The profit margins clearly is too low. Well, look at this. In the short term, they will make money, but long term, they're playing right into the hands of Valve and Nintendo. How so? You just said that they cannot continue to do this. Right? So playing into whose hands? Valve already understands this. Right? But Valve doesn't have to sell hardware. Valve is all BYOD. Xbox is also BYOD. So Xbox is basically the Valve of the console space. So PlayStation is the one that's actually trying to figure out where the heck they stand. And I was saying this. They need to compete in a changing landscape. All you all told me was I was an anti-negative PlayStation YouTube channel. No, hold the L. Thank you so much. I want to see it really loud. Get your t-shirts that says that L is on there and eat it like a man, because many of you now want to come out here and obfuscate and throw and lump Microsoft in the same box as PlayStation. They're not in the same league. They may be competitors, but by golly, has Xbox absolutely leapfrogged over them, miles and miles ahead, running circles around them. They don't even look at them. They're just hiring somebody to now support multi-platform negotiations, when right now Microsoft has probably already prototyped every single game that they have on a PlayStation 5 development kit, waiting just to need money, deploy. And now you want to come out here and now basically go ahead and what do you want to do? No. You exclusivists, I need your marching the rounds of telling everybody how you were wrong. I need y'all to get it going, get it started. And I'm talking, say how wrong you were and actually expand to the extent. Don't hide. You need to basically eat this lesson because it's going to help you. I'm not here to I'm not here to worry about, oh, you got an L and I owned you. That's not how an educator's mind works. My mind works in the sense that I want you to learn so that now, when we all jump into the conversation, we have a mind of seeking the truth. That's all. I'm not interested in your stupid console war. Never have been. I've been telling you the thing was dead for like, what, 2 years? 2 years. We literally got a leak. This is what's called a divine leak. That we would see PlayStation strategy right in front of us, and some of you denied it. You said this is old stuff. Is this what they really meant? This doesn't mean they're going multi-platform. I have the videos. I can literally launch 100 videos in the next few days that would all sound like I made them today. Do you understand how many videos that is? Do you understand that I can literally go through my playlist and launch 100 videos and they will all sound like they were made today? To comments like these and detractors back and forth, all listening to the trash that was being spread in the ether. There's another video I want to make. If not, I'd have stayed on this one a little longer. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time and audience. Peace out.